Hello and good morning. Welcome to the Valentine's edition of Good Morning Kenya. My name is Samuel Njoroge. Such a pleasure to have your company on this 14th day of Feb 2018. Happy Valentine's to all of you. This rose is dedicated to each and every one of you who wakes up each and every morning to watch this very show. The only way to start your day, Good Morning Kenya, on the leading broadcaster KBC. As we did tell you earlier, we've been running an activation in relation to this day. Now, today is the day when a lucky couple will get to walk away with a package courtesy of the Panari Resort in Nyahururu to have a Valentine's experience. The offer will be valid for the next 60 days, so there's no pressure when it comes to redeeming this particular package, all right? You've been texting, we've been looking, we've been analyzing, and we have a winner. And today, we shall be unveiling that very couple. But before we get there, I'd like to introduce a gentleman who's been very productive in the realization of this show. He represents the Panari brand. He is the marketing manager therein. I'm talking about Sam Mwangi, and that's the gentleman on your screen. How are you, sir?
I'm very good.
You're doing well?
Very well, and you?
Mi niko salama.
Great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Good to see the lovely couple.
Yes.
Caribbean.
Asante, asante sana. And to my immediate right, we've got a couple. I call them the Thuos, but it is David and Ann Thuo. Karibuni sana, how are you?
Very fine.
Maybe
very
you
well.
can take a moment and say hi to our viewers.
Okay, I'm David Thuo, and we're happy to be on this show.
I'm Ann Thuo, glad to be here for this special show.
Thank you so much. The Thuos will be contributing to a conversation this morning. We had the Terrences on Monday, we had the Ndemos on Tuesday, and today we have the Thuos. So they're not the couple that have won the package. But in a bit, we shall be meeting the lady and the gentleman that have walked away with that very special package. Remember the drill. The SMS line is 22162. Contribute to the topic, to the show this morning. And you can also find us on Twitter. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Find me on my Facebook account, Samuel Njoroge, at Sami1 on Twitter too. Lady, gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'd like to begin with you, David.
Yes.
Let's talk about your love story with Anne. Where did it begin?
Our love story began about 20 years ago. We actually come from the same village in Kikuyu. So many years ago, when I was in college and she had just finished high school, I used to see her around the village bus stop.
Yes.
So I'd see her I saw her a number of times. Then eventually I gathered courage to talk to her. And from that time henceforth, we would meet at that bus stop in the morning.
Yeah.
And I would wait for her in the evening on our way back home. And that's where our story began.
Oh, great. So you had a love spot.
Yes.
That was a bus stop back in the day.
Yes, back in 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yes.
And what was the most captivating thing about David?
I think David is a self-assured man, and even as he gathered courage to approach me, I could tell that he was a very confident guy. He's been like that. I mean, he's a born leader, and so he knew what he wanted, and so he went for it. And so, like they say, aingia box. And the rest was history.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you saw a self-assured man.
Yes.
Someone who goes for what they want.
Exactly.
And he knew exactly what he wanted.
Yes.
And you were confident it was you.
Yes.
Kabisa.
Yes, and he kept talking about my legs. That
Oh.
he actually saw the legs before he saw the face.
Of course,
Okay.
that came many days after interactions. Then you get to start talking about deeper things.
Yeah.
But initially, it's the usual hi, and you sit in the same mat. Then eventually, you sit together and you start chatting. Then you discuss about tomorrow. What time are you here? Then you're at the stage the same time every day, and then eventually, it develops into something. But she's saying she geared box. Normally, some friends of mine tell me when you think a lady ameingia box, when you umeingia box, it is only her who can decide to ingia box.
She's running this show.
Yeah, she's running the show, but
Yeah.
we men think that tumewaingiza box.
All right,
Yeah.
let me cross over to Sam. And I know you've seen so many love stories unravel, be they at the Panari, even at a personal level. What is the most unique thing you can say? What is the most unique thing you have observed as far as love stories are concerned, even as you do your job, maybe?
Quite interesting. I've seen a lot, I would say so, from the personal life, and of course from the the work-related spheres.
Yeah.
Definitely have seen a number of them. I mean, one of the most I would say is an intriguing one is it's a couple that were actually trying to make amends. They had come to, by then, it was a very new, when you have a new brand and you have a new facility, people want to come to that kind of a place.
Sure.
So I just gone to my normal duties at the Panari Resort, that is in Nyahururu. And then at some point, a couple comes in, let me put it a couple, but they were not in good terms.
Oh.
They were not at all in good terms, and what they wanted, there was now the father couple that wanted to bring amends to them.
Yes.
And funny enough is, after the end of that, I think things changed, because instead of them making amends and thinking that this thing is not going to work, sometimes the way we are, and it's like easy Rudy, easy box. The guy was on his on his feet. I'm not going back to
through.
the thing.
Yes.
And at some point, he ended up proposing for the lady.
Oh.
Just in front of everyone. And that is one thing that I always remember, that it's only a fool who die and change.
That's
at any
true.
point.
That's true.
Yes.
And as much as love is blind, love is also intentional.
It is very intentional.
It is very, very intentional.
Yes.
And I know all of us have got love experiences, and would like to share those, beginning with you, Anne.
Yeah.
Can you go back to that point 20 years ago when David proposed? What can you tell us of that moment? Sorry.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So I remember the usual, as he says, coming to the bus stop, and the usual mundane day in, day out. But I think I remember one point when he asked us to go to.
So before you even go on, that's you?
Yes.
And David.
That's
Where
us
was that?
with our baby, our firstborn.
Your firstborn baby?
Yes.
Oh, great. Go on with the proposal.
So I remember him inviting me for a road trip, and I think that picture over there I can see.
Yes.
We went to Nakuru, and for a weekend. What was that hotel? It was a very famous hotel in
still
Nakuru,
there.
and it's still there. Pine Breeze?
Kunste.
Kunste in Nakuru. Yeah, I think it was Kunste.
Yes.
And that's where he didn't say he proposed, but I think that's where he sort of committed to I don't think those days we were very keen on engaging, like getting a ring and all that, but he sort of expressed his love and said, you're the lady that I think I should spend the rest of my life with.
With you.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I clearly remember that weekend.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so, and it was, for us, because we were still in college, it was a big thing. We could afford to actually go out of town
Yes.
for a date. That was a really big
Huge.
thing. And, we were used to just the normal coffees and ice cream. So for me, I think it was such a big way for a guy to actually decide to spend a bit of money and take you out. So I said, yeah. So I think that's where our love story started.
Actually began.
And after that, yeah, we continued.
Good point to note. Guys,
Yes.
we need to spend.
Yes.
Guys, we need to spend. Over to you, David.
Yeah.
When you were planning the proposal,
Yeah.
what were you considering? Did you have any jitters or fears that you could say no?
No, I think we had been together day in, day out, almost every day. So I was comfortable that this was the lady I wanted to spend my life with.
Yes.
So I was not making a decision, a random decision. You know, it was a very deliberate decision. He's the person I wanted. We had spent a lot of time. We had our frictions. We had makeups, and I had realized that this is someone that, for give and take, we could live with. I could live with for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
On the spending bit, I think it may not necessarily be spend much, because we don't want love to look like Nigarama. But I think it's just to make an effort, a deliberate effort within the limits within your limits.
Yes.
If you go to a certain cafe every day on a special day, you can make it different. It doesn't have to be a very expensive one. Maybe just different to make it special. But it doesn't need to be taken like, that you must spend so much money to stay in love or to maintain love. I think as long as the two of you understand that, each of you understand everyone's space, that this is the amount of money this guy can afford at this point, and appreciate that, then you will not be looking at how much are they spending, but the thought behind the spending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's cross over to Sam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before that tuendelee tu sana, share with us your love story, your love experience.
She should have been here.
She should.
That would have been a good start for us. I mean, if I may have to say a few of it, is that 10 years back is when actually I got married. So a month to come, I'll be doing my 10 years anniversary. Our 10 years anniversary, not mine, actually. Kind of intriguing. I mean, at some point, I thought I'm this kind of a person who is very hard to pin down, but I only realized that you can never, sometimes go by what you wishes, but things come around.
Yeah.
So at some point, I was doing my internship. At this time, I was traveling. I was on a journey traveling, and I happened to get to town. Then that's when we had this new, the old phones, Motorola. And when I was just crossing over to Tomboya somewhere, my phone ikaanguka. I mean, I remember there was a riot that day.
Yes.
And then the only place I ended up is in a shop somewhere where people are selling selling phones.
Phones.
Where I got into that shop is where I met my wife. Because I got in and the person was actually resisting. Hawezi ingia hapa. When there are riots in town, everyone gets to a place that whereby that is the easiest place for you to get into, and of course seek some refuge. Then I got to my destiny, because that is where I got into to a shop, and at some point I decided hapa sitoki at some point, and that changed the whole story, because now I looked at the person who had given me that few minutes refuge, and I was like, I hadn't seen this before.
Yep.
And as they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history.
From there, it's been now 10 years.
Well, thank God.
Down the line.
Thank God for the riot.
Yeah.
Thank God for the riot. David, I'm coming to you. Ordinarily, building a relationship over 10 years, over 20 years is not a walk in the park.
Yeah.
As much as you could have that feeling and that attraction and everything,
Yeah.
it needs some work.
Yeah.
How do you weather the storms
Yeah.
in your relationship?
I think initially, when you start off, obviously you're two people who have grown up, have been brought up in different settings, and those settings can never be exactly the same. So there's going to be a lot of friction, even on very small issues that can be considered minute in other people's context, but in a relationship they may not be. So there's a lot of adjusting to do, there's a lot of learning each other, because when you're actually dating, you do not have 24 hours, not necessarily 24 hours, but you only have limited time with each other. You see each other on, say, other than our case where we saw each other in the morning, sometimes you'll see each other on, say, a weekend, then you'll see each other midweek, or the next weekend. So you only have enough time to spend with the person, and they are at their best at that point.
Yeah.
But when you start living with someone, then you're with them throughout, and you're in each other's face. You know, there are habits that they will now come to learn that they would never have known about you, because they are kept away when you visit at your best, when you're at your best of our weekend. But now they are there, they can only pretend for so long.
Yeah.
So those are the things that you come across, and you start discovering things, and you're wondering, hey, I didn't know this about this person. But obviously there's an initial decision, that there's an initial reason why you decided to choose that person. And that is what keeps you going. And you must also, like I said, be deliberate about working on the issues that arise, with a view to actually either address them, or if you are too much apart in terms of, I'm here on this issue and you are here on this issue, try and close that gap, so that at least that friction is not too much. So that is actually what helps, that you're making a deliberate effort, you are appreciating that you're different, and you're saying to yourself, look, I need to make this continue to work. Obviously, raise the issues that come up.
Yep.
Don't just sweep them under the carpet, but choose a good opportunity to raise them. You know, sometimes in the heat of the moment may not be the best. So I think you just have to be very open-minded and very deliberate, like I said.
Deliberate about it.
Yeah.
And there's also this point, Sam, before I come to you, and I'd like to cross over to Sam. What of you, when it comes to building your relationship over the past 10 years, what are those, how do you weather the storms in your relationship?
I wouldn't say it's easy, yet it's not hard, because it's a decision that you make. I mean, that's where there comes in the difference between falling in love and stepping into it. Because the moment you're stepping into it, you make a conscious decision that that's what I'm getting into.
Right.
You know, in a typical scenario, when you say you're falling into something, it's just that. You fell in, you fell, and when you're waking up, definitely you need to dust yourself. A lot of things have changed in between. But then there comes a scenario whereby you make a conscious decision. This is what I want to get into. And again, every day is to cultivate into it, knowing that you didn't get the very perfect person that you wanted. But as you know, even for those of us who read the Bible, you're giving a raw material, and when you're giving a raw material, it's to you to work with it and bring out the best out of it. So the moment you realize that, at the end of the day, this is what I've been given, let me make the best out of it. And when you made that conscious decision, you never go wrong in it. And that happens in cutting across, even whether it's the personal relationships, whether it's about the business relationship that you're getting into, any form of a relationship you're getting into, you have to make a very conscious decision that this is what I'm getting into, right? When you get into the business angle, for example, for the 2.5 years now I've been in Panari, I have realized a lot of things, that there's a relationship you create between your clients, the relationship you create with your brand. It is actually be a reflection of how you are back at home. If I have my own issues back at home, definitely it will be revealed, and it will be seen all over by everyone. Even if I try to fake it, it can't work. So it's a decision that you have to make, and knowing that at the end of the day, there's always someone somewhere outside there who is looking at what you can do out of the situation that you're into.
Right.
Yes.
And we all have those little things that make us a little bit uncomfortable about our significant other. As I was telling a friend yesterday, I think, you're not looking for your long-lost sister. You're looking for someone who's totally different blood-wise and everything. But coming to you, Anne, what can you say? Earlier on, you described the assets David has. Self-assured, born a leader, knows what he wants. But let's talk about those things that, ni sawa. Be, ni sawa too.
Yes.
Let's talk about those.
So I guess the what can I say? The other side of those attributes.
The flip side.
The flip side, yes.
Yes.
Is that now David will want everybody to be almost like him, or like not like him, because he can't change people really, including myself. But he wants things to be perfect, and you know the way he will carry himself. He will want a small bit of him to rub off on you. So I've learned that the way he likes his things, you know, and so sometimes he's I'm a perfectionist, but he's an extremely perfectionist, I guess. So sometimes he will want things done in a particular way. He's very keen on following up on issues, and he'll ask you, so we discuss this, how come this has not been done? And you know, sometimes you are juggling many balls in the air, including kids and work, and you're thinking, that one maybe it could have waited. But you know, because we discussed and we said this has to be done, so let's get on with it. But I think as someone says, is you make a decision to accommodate the other person. You might not, you might have to learn how to do that, but in a way, if you want that to work, if you're not looking at getting out tomorrow, then you compromise. It's more of compromise. But then it's also that the other person also learns you and also what you like, and then sometimes they give you leeway, you know, because so sometimes we will discuss something and then we'll say, okay, let's give ourselves a bit of time.
Right.
Maybe you have to deal with these certain things right now, but then we can see how things work. So I think the flip side of his confidence, leadership qualities is he will bring home some of those, and the fact that he's a CEO somewhere, I keep telling him, now we are in the house. But I guess that's who he is. That is authentic self. And as Samuel is saying, it's good to be yourself.
It's very
and
important.
not fake things, because I'm this way out there, then when I come home, then, because I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is to have a space where you're able to express who you are. And that's so important in relationships, because you're in it for good, you know, unless you're thinking of something else in the future, then it's good to just be your authentic self and let the other partner know that that's who you are. Then let's work on who we are, you know? But that comes with time. You know, you can't just be dating today and tomorrow you're this other person. But I think from the word go, it's good to know who you are. Self-awareness is very important.
Very important.
Yes.
Right. Create an impression that will facilitate the expression later on. That's what I'm getting from this set. Because I'm also learning, all right? Bado pia mimi niko kwa hii process, sijafika, bado natembea. Over to you, David. What would you describe as Anne's perfect imperfections? You know, we've got to quote it now around. Perfect imperfections.
Yeah. Perfect imperfection is a good way of putting it, just to be safe. I think because of her personality, she probably may take a bit of time sorting out an issue, you know, probably polishing it, and sometimes you're thinking this one needs to be just sorted and moving. And I think when we've even done our personalities, I think my strongest is choleric. I think yours is?
Melancholy, choleric.
Yes.
So you are a blend of the two.
Yes.
So she'll take time with an issue, she'll analyze it, but me, I just look at it, make a decision, and move. And sometimes, obviously, that might not be the right thing, but when it calls for making an abrupt decision, then it works very well, so that you don't spend time on something. So maybe those are things that initially we would struggle with. I'm also very open to giving space. I think she's had her space, whether in school, you know, I think she's probably more learned than I am, in as much as we got married very early, so she wants to pursue something extra, she goes and does it, so I don't limit her progress. But yeah, I think back to your question, it's just because of the personality differences that I find some delays in some things that I would want them done quicker. And I think that is because of my personality again. But with time, obviously, you learn that you must give the other person space. And those are the areas that we are saying you need to work on so that you don't have friction all the time.
Don't have friction all the time. Most of the young couples nowadays, and they usually have a conflict in terms of getting it right. Sam, you will hear everyone saying, I want to get it right this time. No, I don't want to mess it up. I want to get the right person. I want to get the right man. I want to get the right lady. I want to treat her right. Are we fussing about right? Is there anything like getting it right? And what does it entail?
You know, if I may put it within a different perspective, you know, getting it right means you get it right in your thinking, right? I mean, you think right, then decide the right way. When we realize that we have different personalities, I mean, we are wired differently, and that's how it is, right? A lady, I put it up more, they are more emotional feelers, but then the man is the emotional thinker. Not because the other one is better than the other. She will feel more, and I'll think more, right? That's I mean, to put it in a clear way. You see, you've planned an evening. Let's say you've planned an evening. You know, at the end of the day, you have to go do a dinner at a certain restaurant in the later in the evening. But from the man's perspective is that we are just wired. I'm seeing the end fact, the dinner part. That's it. For her, you'll ask, and are we still going for the dinner? Before she tells you yes, believe me, she'll tell you how many times I'm looking about the children have to sleep at this time. They normally eat at this time. The processes, the processes that are there. You see, but she's thinking about it. And the thing is that once we realize that we are there to complement each other, we get it right. Because he's supposed to think that process. I'm just supposed to see that end fact.
Yes.
The reason is, at the end of the day, if we all dwell in the processes, you never get there. If we decided to go straight to the point, to the end fact is, there's so many potholes that are in between that she sees that I don't see. That is why we complement each other. So you can say that you're looking for that right person. You're looking for that right decision, make it right, and move on in the right way.
Move on in the right way. Today is Valentine's Day, the 14th of Feb, and we appreciate the loved ones we have in our lives. And we're setting the mood and the pace right here on Good Morning Kenya. I'd like to shift now to my guests this morning, and I'd like to begin with you, the Thuos. David, what is that one thing, that one message you'd like to tell Anne this morning for Valentine's? Express yourself, sir. Fungua roho.
Yeah, I think for me, Valentine's Day is a special day.
It has. Mwangaliane. We'll be witnesses.
Valentine's Day is a special day, but it is not just the only day that I feel that I love you. So it is special in certain contexts, but all the days of the year and the years are special days. So, and I love you all those days.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And one good turn deserves another.
Okay, so David, it's been this year, 2018 actually, will be 20 years since you expressed your commitment to loving me, all flaws and everything else. And I appreciate, the perfect imperfections. And I appreciate what you have done for me, which is a lot. I think I have to write a book. And you've been a great friend, a lover, husband, and father to our 3 kids. And I appreciate you, and I ask the Lord to bless you and to give you more years to enjoy this. Yes.
Absolutely. Right. He's reaching out for a hug. He's reaching out for a hug. That was so sweet. I'm crossing over to you, Sam.
Yes.
You know, telepathy is a language of love. All right. You may not be together, but mkwe pamoja on a telepathic level. I'd like you to look straight into the camera Your camera is right here.
Okay.
And talk to her. Tell her what you feel about her, what you think about her, what your special message for her this Valentine's is.
I'm sure she'll text me back and tell me what she's feeling.
Good.
Alice, it's been years back, and what I can say is that it's been one road that I would want to go back and do this time and time again. 10 years has been short but long period. But I mean, looking back, I would say it's the best that I've ever had. It's the best that I'm looking forward for. It's the best that I'm looking, into sharing the next phase of our lives. And to our two girls, I would say I got the best to have your mom around me. She is the best for me, and I'm sure she will always be.
Great. Great. Absolutely great. Let me sample some of your feedback on 22162. In a bit, we shall be crossing over to Brenda Zeda Radido on the other side of the studio to get a feel of what exactly you're saying about the show. And you say, I'll take the first message here. I met the only love of my life through Facebook, and love grew despite the odds of distance and difference in tribe. It has always been growing stronger by time, and I call it the true love of all. Thank you so much for texting, and we appreciate your feedback right here on Good Morning Kenya. Pole sana bro, huyo kona matatizo. She came back, burnt my clothes, and left again. Now I'm single. Our hearts out to you. Our hearts quite literally out to you. I'll take one more before I cross over back to my panel. You always make me proud every day. Thank you so much. You don't say who you are, but your number ends with 69. Thank you so much for writing in that message. Earlier on, we did look at weathering the storms that come with any relationship. How about defying the odds? Defying the odds in terms of we met through Facebook, there are people who are not so comfortable with online as a dating site. There are others that come with terms and conditions. How do we keep it real in terms of demystifying the odds, Anne?
So I think if the person is meant to be yours, it doesn't matter, I guess, where you meet. It could be on Facebook. Okay, that's a new one, really, as you say, because our days there was nothing like Facebook, so you had to physically meet the person. But then nowadays, you can date online.
Sure.
But then at some point, obviously, you'll have to meet physically, because I've had stories of people who date other people that they are not too sure who they are.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is you could meet, in church, a bus stop like we met, in school, So, but then what matters is what you do with that, because it's like a garden. So you plant a tree and you have to tend to it, or a flower, and then you get it to blossom. So the meeting is just the first thing, but then what you do after that is what matters.
Exactly.
most. So the odds are against that particular thing about what you do with that relationship. After that, yes.
After the feeling, after everything,
yes.
the work.
Actually,
put
it's the
into
work
it.
you put into it.
Because there is work.
There is work, and plenty of work.
So it's not all about gowns and themes and everything.
No.
There's an overall you put on.
Yes.
And you say, I'm working
gloves,
for this, and
a
towards.
shovel.
And a shovel, and everything else.
Yes.
I'd like to bypass David and go to Sam. Demystifying the odds. How do you get it right for you in your relationship, in your marriage? How do you get it right?
Look at this way. You can't. I'll put it like Albert Einstein said at some point, that you can't you can't blame gravity for falling in love. You got in it knowingly.
Yes.
Demystifying it, as I said earlier, is that one of the things that you're looking at is you made a decision to get into this. You knew very well there are things that you're going to get into, and you didn't get the perfect person. You're just been given the raw material to make it perfect for you. So every day you wake up knowing that, at the end of the day, there is this someone that I have around me who is not very perfect.
Yeah.
Neither am I perfect. But in every day you strive to that greatness. I mean, it cuts across, in all types of the relationships, whether it's the marriage life, whether it's the fiancé, relationship, the business, all sort of relationships. It's a decision. It's all in the mind. And knowing at the end of the day that it is going to come out in the best way, hopefully, and it's going to be that thing that I was looking for when I made the decision that I want to get into it. Looking at it from a different perspective is that, we all get into that with different perspectives. You'll get into marriage in a very different perspective. She will get into it hoping that she'll change you, all right? And that's why, they always take that time to say, yes, they're still looking at that thing that I was still changing you. And this guy will get into marriage thinking that I've gotten the right person. That's why you propose. Even in businesses, you write a proposal, knowing that this is the perfect that will be received. So you propose. And then the day I'm doing this, and I've proposed to the best, hoping it remains that way. All of us are wrong and right in the same way, because she'll change, and he will change.
Sure.
All right? And both of you will change in a certain way towards the perfection, right? And the fact that I know with time, it is going to be different way. It is going to be, what I thought about. And no wonder, by the way, that you only know about someone after staying with them.
Yeah.
Right? Don't think that staying in, doing a courtship for 10 years is going to know, you're going to know this person. Then you would ask yourself, how comes then you have seen people court for 9 years, then after a month, he says, he changed.
After 9.
The person didn't change. They become themselves, right? It's just by that. Alikuja what they were supposed to be. In a courtship, everyone is in a theater, acting to be right.
Yeah.
You get out of the backstage and you come to the reality, you become whom you are. And that will happen in relationship. After time, you're going to learn that this is it, and I'm going to deal with it. You only have one option, to make it right.
To make it right.
Yeah.
That's deep, man. That's really, really deep. At that point, we need to take a break. And when we return, we shall not only be unveiling the couple that walks away with the Panari experience, but we shall also get to hear more from the Thuos in terms of how do you keep so young? You've mentioned 20 years in marriage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trust me, we've been doing the math. Maybe so they could be this old.
Yeah.
And you've still kept it very, very young. So how do you go about that?
Yeah.
And we shall be getting to hear more from Sam, not only from the Panari angle, but more on his relationship and whether Alice did text back. Keep it right here. The only way to start your day. Good morning, Kenya. So far, so good. It's the Valentine's edition. And we shall also be appreciating the couples that have made this experience a reality, all the way from last week, Pakasai. You do not want to go anywhere. 22162 is the SMS line. Good morning.